All right, fellow teachers, now we're going to talk about creating quizzes and tests. So here I am once again on my Schoology. I'm over at my US History AP page, and I'm going to create a test for these guys in my online section. So as you can see, I've got lots of assignments, I've got files, I've got Word documents here, I've got screencasts and Dropbox and everything in here. But now let's say we're going to create a test. So you click once again on Add Materials and you click Add Test or Quiz. Um, Now, quizzes and tests can be much different. You can do a variety of different options. You can do some really easy, quick couple of question quizzes, like just to check for understanding, or you can give a full out test with 100 questions, multiple choice, short answer, everything. So let's say we do create a test on westward migration. Test on westward migration. We can set a due date. Let's say we are taking that test on Friday the 17th. 11 p.m. is a little late. Let's say we're taking it at 9 a.m. And it is worth 100 points. You can put it in whatever grading category you want. I'm going to call it ungraded right now. And we will now create this test. So now, once you've created, now you have the option to create any number of different types of questions. So you can click add a question here. You can do a true false. You can do a multiple choice. You can do a short answer essay question, fill in the blank, or matching. There's a lot of different things that you can actually do for this. One of the options that's very popular with teachers is to do multiple choice tests, especially multiple choice quizzes. I do recommend doing multiple choice on Schoology because it has a very quick automatic grading system that actually filters in their exact grade and then shoots it into the grade book, which is something we can talk about in my next video. But here we have a multiple choice box in which you can put in questions. I myself, as an AP teacher, have to include pictures and maps into these sort of things, which is really easy. You just insert a picture and then do it that way. You ask questions. What year was the Mexican American War? Or really, I should say, what years was the Mexican American War? And then I can add options. Was it 1841 to 1843? Was it 1844 to 1846? Was it 1846 to 1848? Or was it none of the above? If I wanted to add more questions or possibilities, I could add so. I could add an additional question on there, another choice. I could also have multiple correct answers, obviously not for this question, but this is the correct answer here, 1846 to 1848. But here's the problem with online tests is that there's always the possibility that students are doing this test online, but they're doing it with other students. How can you cut down on the cheating? And that's what makes this Schoology test option so great. First of all, I didn't end up using this box, so I'm going to remove the blanks here. And by clicking that button, it gets rid of all of the choices I didn't fill in. But now, if they're doing questions, online, and they're talking with a friend, or they're doing something they're supposed to, I can click randomized choices. So the choices show up as different answer options for different students accessing the test. I can also make it a timed question so that I can stop students from looking up answers online or in their book because they have to answer the question under a certain time limit. I can set 1 minute, or maybe I want to do 1.5 minutes. I just press 1.5 there and give them 1 minute 30 seconds to do it. Now I can create a question, and by creating a question, that question is now in my quiz or test, and I can add multiple questions this way. I could now do a short answer question and add that question right into the quiz as number 2, and go through. So lots of different ways in which you can do questions. But one of the best things about this functionality for adding tests is the settings option that you can do, because it gives you a really nice variety of ways in which you can cut down on cheating. And a couple of things. First of all, you can give some instructions here for your test that all students have access to. You can also enable or disable submissions. And so by doing that, you can set exactly when they can access the test. You can say that it is accessible at 9 a.m. and it cuts off at 10:30. So you can cut down on the time in which they can do it. You also can set a time limit. If you were to not set individual times for the questions, this becomes really nice because you can simply say, okay, you have an hour to do this test and you can take any amount of time on certain questions, but you might run out of time at the end. You can also allow them to take tests up to 20 different times or an unlimited amount of times if it's a practice test, something like that. But one of my favorite things that you can do on these online tests is randomizing the order. Now, if you have a big test, like I gave a big test on Schoology last week, it was 55 questions. I selected yes on randomize the order. And why that's significant is that when students are taking the test at home and they're trying to talk with a friend, they load up question 1, and question 1 for their test might be question 40 for another student's test. And because these questions are timed, they don't really have a way in which they can cheat on these type of questions because both students are forced to address the question that's right there in front of them. And that makes it kind of cheat proof in that sense. And that's been really nice. And I've gotten some good positive feedback from students in hearing that there's really no other way that they could actually address the test than just simply going through and try to answer the questions. There's other kind of nice things that you can do on these tests just to round up the discussion of the test. If it's something it's not very formal, you can make it resumable, meaning that they can come back and resume the test. They can take a break from things. And one of my personal favorites, if you want the students to go back and go over their test and see what the right answers were, you can say, yes, they can see their score, or yes, they can see their score with the correct answers. So a lot of really great ways in which you can create assessments for students online. We'll go over viewing assignments and the gradebook in my next video, so tune in for that. Hope you guys enjoyed.